friends of the Oz Man. Today we're going to do a redo video of a video I did about 8 years ago of these gloves, the Churchill gauntlet gloves. Okay, you see them? Churchill gauntlets. Okay, so these are my go-to gloves. Whenever it's cold or winter or whatever, I wear these gloves. And reason I'm redoing this video is I've had a few requests. For some reason, people want to see more about the gloves. And I do have that old video, but for some reason nobody wants to see the old video. I don't know what's going on, but everybody keeps asking me for new video about the gloves. So Churchill gloves. And when I originally did that old video, okay, let me just talk a little bit about Churchill before I go into the videos. So Churchill is a boots. Always got boots in the mind. It's a glove company made here in the United States. It's a US made glove company, kind of known for their rodeo gloves mostly. They do all these kind of like custom rodeo gloves and different colors and stuff. That's kind of like their bread and butter. Then they also do work gloves, and of course they do motorcycle gloves. I actually when I first started riding, I was looking, at different gloves, trying to do a lot of research. And this particular glove, the Churchill glove, when I went to a Harley Davidson store, I tried them on, gauntlet gloves, and I just loved them. I thought they were so cool, they were comfortable. I just felt like they were the gloves for me. So I bought them. And then I've just been using them ever since. When I did that old video, I mentioned that I always wear gauntlet gloves, even when it's summer. But that has changed. In the summer now, I do not wear gauntlet gloves anymore. I just wear them in the winter. So in the winter, or if it's super cold or whatever, then I'll wear the gauntlet gloves. But otherwise, I wear short gloves. And the main gloves that I wear when it's hot, I used to wear, Churchill does make small gloves, or shorties, whatever you want to call them. But and I did wear them for a while, but a friend of mine gifted me these gloves, these Kemimoto gloves, and I have really grown to love these gloves. And so now when it's cold, or excuse me, it's the opposite, when it's hot, when it's summertime, I will wear these gloves. And these are not made in America. I think they're made in China. But they are very comfortable. They have knuckle protection, and it is still leather. So it is pretty good glove, and it really works great in the summer. I just really have grown to love these gloves. And they really have lasted a long time. Usually I tend to wear gloves off, like I start wearing them out here, and then I wear them off on my fingers as well, because when I'm gripping the clutch, it always seems like they wear out about there. But I've been wearing these for already a couple years. I gotta tell you, they're pretty good. I really like them. And they're not too expensive. The other thing too about this is they have the little touch sensor things here. So you can, use your cell phone or the GPS or any of that stuff that's on the bike. So Kemimoto, good gloves. Not made in America, unfortunately, made in China. And they're not too expensive though. You can buy them on Amazon. Let me see, I looked at the price. Yeah, well, normally it's $29.99, but right now when I last looked, it was $23.99, so I guess they're on sale. But Kemimoto, very good gloves. I like them. Churchill also makes gloves like this shorties, but they do wear out a lot faster, I've noticed, and they don't have any knuckle protection. So these have kind of become my summer gloves, and I really like them. The one good thing about the Churchill gloves, the shorties, is that they do still have that kind of feel, like you can still really feel the texture of the controls. One thing I made a comment about in my last video back in 8 years ago is that I don't like to wear gloves that are too thick, because it's kind of like that old saying, when men don't want to wear a condom for sex because it takes away some of the sensation. And there's that saying, taking a shower with your clothes on, or a raincoat or whatever. So I said that's why I didn't like wearing thick gloves, and that still stands true. I don't like wearing super thick gloves. And Churchill, the great thing about Churchill is that it's very, you can really feel the control. So even though you are wearing a glove, it's not, it doesn't take away from the texture. You know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but you know, the feel of the controls. You can still really feel the controls, and you still feel part of the bike. So I still think if you want to buy the short gloves, they're great too. And I don't think they're too expensive. I don't think I wrote down the price for the short ones. Yeah. I didn't write the price down for the short ones. I think they're about $50 or so, something like that. These gloves, so I want to show you something here. These are my old gauntlet gloves, my old ones. And the main difference is that they don't have a strap here. See, no strap. And the new one has a strap. You see the strap? See? Has a strap. So you can tighten it up if you want. So if you did go back and watch that old video I did, you're going to see in that video that once again I had a pair of gloves like this with no strap, and I bought a new pair with straps. Okay. But since that video was made, I actually have gone through another, I guess 2 pairs? Yeah, 2 pairs. Because in that video, I went through the original ones, then I got a strap one, and then I bought, these are the ones I bought after the strap ones. So it was, once again, I went back to a non-strap one. And now these are wearing through, so I bought one again, and this one has a strap. I have to say, I kind of like the one with the strap. However, the one without a strap, this one, the good thing about it is it does seem to go on a lot faster. So you know, when it kind of goes in and out very, very easy. While this one with the strap, even if you keep the strap all the way loose, you know, you're slowly sliding in. You know, it's kind of tight there. And then you gotta, you know, you're slowly pulling out here, right? So it's not like, see, there you go. Now you're in, and then you gotta slowly pull out, okay? While this one, the old one without a strap, you slide in, slide out. It's very fast. And I know some people might say, well, yeah, because these gloves are old and broken in. But no, even if you buy them new, without the strap, you can get in and out very fast. So if you just, you know, don't want to deal with, you know, you want to be able, like say you're at a gas station or something, and you just want to pump your gas and you just want to get the hell out, you know, so when I go pump my gas, I take my gloves off. So, you know, you just take them off, you know, you take the cap off, put the gas, you know, get done with the gas, then you put the cap back on, slide your gloves back on, and you're ready to ride. And it's pretty good when it's like not heavy traffic, when you're with your biker friends and they're all like, come on, let's go, we gotta go. So sometimes just a few, you know, half a second, whatever it is to put this glove on, is kind of nice. But with that said, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I do kind of like the one with the strap. And I'm glad I went back to it. So just letting you know, 2 types, right? So basically, if you are going to buy a Churchill gauntlet glove, the 2 places you can go to is, well, you can go to Harley Davidson. Sometimes Harley Davidson sells them at the dealerships. If you're in a warm climate, like say Florida or Texas or something like that, it might be kind of hard to find the gauntlet gloves, just because I'm sure Harley, the dealerships are like, well, who's going to buy a big gauntlet glove in the summer when it's 100 degrees and, you know, humidity is 80% or whatever. But if you're in the cold climates, it's probably a lot easier. So if you're in Portland or Chicago or something like that, probably can find this. The other way is to buy them at the Churchill website. And I'll put a little link here to the website. The glove, there's a few different variations of the gauntlet glove. This is probably, not this one because this has the strap. This one here is called the Maverick GC, like gauntlet, is it GC? No, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. This is Maverick C like cat, and G like girl. And it stands for classic gauntlet, okay? C like cat, G like girl, okay? Classic gauntlet. And if you just buy like this without any strap, they usually run about, let me see here, about $150. Is that about right? Yeah, $150 to $195. Now, the $195 is usually the one that's insulated and it's made for really cold weather, you know, like it's snowing or something. But normally you can get these for about $150. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but around that $100, a little over $100 mark, okay? So, and if you want the and if you want the one here with the Velcro strap, they charge you an extra $6, I think it is. Yeah, $6. $6 if you want the strap here. All right, you see it? You could also get fringes, which I think is down here if you want to have that kind of cowboy thing. And I think it charges about, how much is that right now with that? $12. $12 if you want the fringe. Now, I'm not going to get the fringes because, you know, I'm a biker. I mean, I guess bikers do have fringes, but I've never been all that attracted to the idea of getting fringes. But if that's your thing, you can get this puppy with fringes, okay? And then they also come in like a light brown tannish color. So if you don't want to get black, you can get a tannish color. I've never had the tannish color ones, but you know, whatever floats your boat, as they say. What else? So there's two, there's a bunch, like I said, there's different variations of the gauntlet glove that Churchill sells. But this one, the one I prefer, is the one that I mentioned earlier that starts with a CG, okay? Classic gauntlet, or, you know, C like car and G like girl, okay? And I want to emphasize that because there's another gauntlet glove Churchill makes, Maverick as well, except that one, the G and the C are opposite. So now it's G like girl and C like car. And that one is a thinner gauntlet glove. So this one is kind of thick. And I like it. It's kind of has this like thick, I don't know if you can tell, like a thickness there. The other one is a lot thinner. So maybe it would be good if you were in a warmer climate or you didn't want to wear something too thick. But I tried it out and I didn't really like it. It felt like, I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me. So I didn't buy it. But that one is a little cheaper. Let me see if I wrote down the price. Yeah, that one is $90, okay, 90. So if you prefer to try that one, you can. I usually you can also tell because the one that's GC, you know, so girl car, the thinner one has these lines here. Maybe if I can find a picture, I'll put it up. It has these lines right here, okay? So it's up to you, but if you want to get the gloves that I have, you want to get the Maverick gloves, Maverick gauntlet gloves, and you want them to say let me emphasize, there's C like car and G like girl, okay? Maverick CG, okay? C like car, G like girl, okay? If you want the exact kind I have, all right? Otherwise, you'll get the other model that's thinner, and I don't know, maybe you'd like it. I didn't like it. And they also have ventilated ones, and they have, like I said, the insulated ones. So it's up to you if you want to look at any of those models. But I usually just gravitate towards one of these two. So this is just the regular one with no strap, and this one has a strap, okay? So that's the main difference. Let me see, what else just a side note about Churchill gloves is that if you did watch that show, Sons of Anarchy, that was out, you know, it's already been a while. I can't remember how long ago that show's been out. But if you have watched Sons of Anarchy, the gloves that the guys use are Churchill gloves. So just a little, you know, FYI there, a little side note. And let me see, what else do I want to say about these gloves? Okay, so anyway, yeah, so I'm a big fan of Churchill gauntlets, but like I said, oh, let me show you this. So I wanted to show you why. Now these old gloves are still kind of going good. They're not too bad, but I wanted to point out what happens with me in these gloves is that you see here this hole. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to get in the light there. Right there, you see it? That hole right there? So what ends up happening is when I'm riding, I guess I'm rubbing on this too much. Maybe it's because this is the clutch hand. So I don't know, maybe when I'm pulling the clutch, I'm rubbing on the you know, the shifter, what is that thing called? The grip of the bike, and it's just rubbing through. And then this one it's still not too bad, but sometimes I'll wear out one of the side fingers here as well. But anyway, that's what happens to me a lot, see? So I get that a lot. And what I was impressed about with the Kemimoto gloves is that, you know, I've used them for a lot as well. And as you can see, there is no rubbing, okay? There's no hole. So for made in China, you know, gotta say, I'm impressed. So with these gloves, I mean, technically, I guess I could put some tape or something and keep using them. And maybe I might occasionally, but, you know, I figured, hell, you know, might as well buy a new pair. But ironically, Churchill is known for having gloves that last a long time. And when I did my very first video on this, which was, like I said, what, 8 years ago, 7 years? Well, how did I say that video happened? Oh, well, you might actually I just looked it up and it was 9 years ago. 9 years ago. Wow. 9 years. How time flies, my friends. So anyway, when I did that video 9 years ago, I called up Churchill to order the gloves, and I remember the guy said, "Oh, these gloves last forever. How long have you had it?" And I was like, at that time, I think I only wore them for like 3 years or something. They already wore out, and he was surprised. So maybe other people are much more gentle on their gloves. I will say I never do anything to my gloves. I don't polish them. I don't wax them. I don't do any leather care. I do all that stuff for boots, but not for gloves. And I do a little bit of conditioning for jackets as well. So that could be maybe a reason why I go through gloves kind of fast. But I also think it's because gloves are always in the elements. You know, they're always, you know, you're always out there in the wind and the dirt and the mud, and, you know, they get wet. I was in the Philippines a few years ago, and I got stuck in this massive storm, and I had these other pair of gloves by maybe they were Churchill. Actually, I think they might have been Churchill gloves. Now I think about it, I think it was the short ones, the short Churchills. And the rain just came down like crazy. It was like a storm, like one of those not tsunamis, typhoons, whatever, you know, the heavy rains that they get in Southeast Asia. And yeah, my gloves were just soaked. I mean, just like soaked. So gloves in general, I just think your motorcycle gloves just go through a lot more brutal conditions than I think even boots or jackets go through. You know, boots are down there, sometimes they're protected by the bike's fairings, and, you know, maybe they don't get the full brutality. A lot of times jackets also will get a lot of brutality, but even jackets, you know, like on my bike, I have this big kind of front end, sort of like, it's a fairing, but it's like kind of like a big dashboard in a way. So it kind of protects and I got a windshield, so it kind of protects the jacket. But your hands and your gloves, they're right out there. You know, they're right out there. And there really is nothing protecting them. Some people have, I guess, those little protectors on their motorcycles, but I don't. So they're out there, they're getting the full, the full exposure to the elements. So anyway, I think that's everything I want to say about these gloves. I'm basically doing this video because one of my viewers, I think he goes by User Boots. asked me to do it. And then I had a few other requests a while ago asking me to do it. But the reason I never did it again was because I already have that Churchill video I did, 9 years ago, is still pretty much relevant. I mean, the only thing I would say that I've changed from that point to now is that I don't wear the gauntlet gloves year round. And I can, it's not like I couldn't wear them year round, but I just got used to the short ones for the summer summer weather. So that's why I wear the shorties in the summer. So, but other than that, there's no big difference between this video and that video. But people did ask me to make a new one, so I went for it. And then of course, these are the Kemimoto's gloves, which I also, like I mentioned earlier, these gloves are pretty cheap. You can buy them on Amazon for 23 bucks. They do run small, so you should size up twice, right? So for instance, the Churchill glove, this here is a medium. And I even get a medium if I get the short one, I get a medium as well. But this one, the Kemimoto, I have to have an extra large because they're very small. So if you decide to order a Kemimoto glove, go 2 sizes bigger than what you normally get. So if you get a medium, normally you get a medium, you want to go for extra large on the Kemimoto, okay? So that's what I want to say about that. Now the only other glove I'm going to mention briefly is that Cycle Gear. The store Cycle Gear has a brand called BILT, B-I-L-T, and their gloves go for roughly about the same as the Kemimoto, and this is a BILT. Now I wore these a few times, but this is an example of being stuck in the elements. So last time I went, was the last, no, not last time, but the time before that when I went to once again to the Philippines. So the first year, the one I was telling you earlier about with the glove got soaked, that was a Churchill. Then the second time I went to the Philippines, I wore these. And they also got soaked because it rained. The Philippines, it's always raining, my friends. I don't know what's going on. They definitely do not have a drought in the Philippines. And I haven't worn these gloves since that day. So they're all stiff. I don't know if you can see here, like even the fingers are all like, bent, like it's got arthritis or something, right? But I'm gonna put them on anyway. But look how tight they are. They shrank so much with the rain. Ugh. So there they go. But the one good thing about these gloves is that they have this knuckle protection here, really hardcore knuckle protection. So that's great, if you go down. And just like the Kemimoto, they're not too worn out over here. They're a little worn out there. But if you were gonna go for short gloves, I would tell you that I think these Kemimoto gloves are very impressive. I really like them. They do have protection on the knuckles. They have knuckles here and here. So I would recommend these. If you do want to just have that more feeling of the controls, they go for the Churchill. But when it comes to cold weather, when it comes to freezing weather, and you need a gauntlet glove, I don't know. I think you can't go wrong with Churchill. These Churchill gloves, I still wear them. They're my exclusive winter glove, is the Gauntlet glove by Churchill. And I've tried a few other Gauntlet gloves, and they just didn't rock my boat, my friends. They didn't rock it. So, and these gloves, I guess they're fitting okay, but they shrank a lot with the rain, and I never really wear them anymore. But they do have good protection. So who knows, maybe next time I go back to the Philippines, I'll bring it with me or something. But these things get wet and they soak it up. But if you want a pair of short gloves, you can always go to Cycle Gear if you have one in your neighborhood and, take a look at the BILT. So I think that might be everything I got to say on gloves for today. Now, for people who watch my channel, who are more into, how can I say, the leather scene as opposed to motorcycle stuff. Because, you know, I'm looking at all these things. Everything I look at, whether it's my boots or my jacket or my gloves, I'm kind of always looking at it from a motorcycle perspective. But I do know a lot of people watch my channel who are just into, you know, the lifestyle more. They just like leather jackets. They like to go to a club. They like to go to bars. They like to, you know, wear the whole leather uniform, or, you know, just because they're into leather. They like, you know, that's their thing. But they don't actually ride a motorcycle. And, you know, so they buy gloves, for instance, not because they really need gloves to ride or something or to deal with the cold. It's just part of the overall uniform. So if you're into, I think the that scene, the bluff scene where you dress up like an officer all in leather, you wear your langlets and, you know, gloves and the, you know, the Daner boots or all American boots or whatever, West Coast. I have seen that there are other gauntlet gloves made for that scene that's not really made to ride in. They're more made for just looks. And they have these like longer, a longer gauntlet here, like it might go further down. And, you know, I haven't really had any desire to purchase any of those because, you know, I like everything I buy, even though I do take it to a club or to a bar, you know, I also use on the bike, right? So, you know, recently I bought my new Wesco and my shot leather jacket, the P613S. And yeah, I take it to a bar, I take it to clubs, I take it to leather events, but I also use it on the bike. So for me, I like my clothes to have multiple uses. I don't want it to just be stuck in one scene. Even though with that said, I've been thinking about my new Wescos and probably using it for just the party scene. But, you know, let's just leave that aside for now. In general, I like my clothing to have, you know, be useful in multiple situations. So, but anyway, there are gauntlet gloves that are more of the kinky fetish kind of vibe. But I would just say that those gloves might look great when you're dressed up as a leather policeman or something, but they probably, I would question how good they would be in a motorcycle riding situation. But if you're into that, you know, definitely look into it. I don't know enough about that type of those gloves to give you more information, but I have seen other people with those kind of more, you know, fetishy type gauntlet gloves. Anyway, I guess that's it for now. Until another 9 years from now when I do the next Churchill glove review, and 9 years from now. Until then, I don't know what my next video will be about. I'm thinking about, once again, doing more, getting out, and I kind of like my Hollywood video I did a while ago with walking around with my new Wescos in Hollywood. So I'm kind of thinking about doing more stuff like that, going to downtown, going places with the boots, maybe with my leather jacket, maybe full cow, getting full leather and going out somewhere. Just to walk around, you know, whatever, Burbank or someplace, and, you know, film the sights. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, until next time, my friends, ride like the wind, don't let that wind ride you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.